Closing Gloves here, and today I'm going to show you a really cool free plugin. This one is called the MCombFilter, and it is pretty gnarly for a free thing. So here is just one example of a preset they have loaded up, and here it is without it on. Here it is with it. So you see, you can get some pretty wild effects. If we continue on, let's change it to another one. Yes, very cool. Oh, that was not good. Anyways, let's go to a default setting here. And so to do that, we're going to go to the root and then click on default. And there we are. So what's going on here? Well, a comb filter works on the principle of a delay. So if you do a Haas effect delay, meaning a delay within the first 20 milliseconds, you set up basically a filter in your sound, and it sounds very sort of crazy. That's because your filtering is phasing against itself, creating the effect of a comb filter. Now, what this is letting us do is this top one controls the gain of the filter, and this left and right controls the stereo imaging of the filter. And as we move the filter back and forth, we're changing the filtering of the comb filtered signal, and that has a dramatic effect on the sound itself. So you see it's only occurring up here. If we move it down, it's occurring throughout our entire signal. So it's just dealing with that side of the signal. And it sounds really cool. It sounds like a flanger, sort of. And so what happens here is we have 4 of these filters, and we can send various components of our dry signal and our affected and fed feedback signal out of our channels here, out of our left and right channel. And so, for example, I can invert the feedback on the left channel. Now, you might be going, what's this feedback thing? Well, the delay has to have a volume. We refer to the delayed signal's volume as the feedback. And so you can change that here. The more feedback, the more ringing you're going to get. Less feedback, less ringing. So you see there's much less, like pretty obviously there. And you can hear that it is coming out the left principally. So we can go ahead and set that the other way. You also have the same controls up here. You actually see them move around when you adjust these anyways. So let's go ahead and put that back. We have a limiter. That's just to protect your ears so that you don't mess up your ears. And we have a minimum maximum frequency, so you can set a range for this thing, which is pretty nifty. And you can hear the difference here. We can only affect a particular range now. And reel it on in. So that's pretty much the controls up here. And you have 4 of these things. Now, it gets interesting when you start combining them, because the delays will begin to stack up, and you can get reverb-like effects. You can get chorusy, well, flangery type effects. Not really chorus effects. There's no pitching of sound here. But as you see here, that's cool. And you might be going, what the heck? This thing is moving around. How is it moving around? If we click on this button on the side here, we open up our meters, but we also open up the multi-parameters and modulators tab. And this is a very intense way of doing things. So I'm not going to go into everything that's in here just because it's sort of overwhelming. But let's go ahead and look at it. For a free thing, this is something they include in all their plugs. But if we open it up, we see we have a modulator active, and it's controlling the frequency and feedback. This is the shape they've designed for this. And look at that. It is following that shape. So that's all that's going on. And so you're able to come in here and link up anything you want. If you can just add controls and hook them up to various controller sources and have at it. So that's pretty much that. If you have any questions about this, let me know. Let's go through a couple more presets here. So here are your presets, and you can see you have them labeled as reverbs and delays, and then you also have resonators and more creative moves. So they've really thought about how they structure their presets. You can also trade presets with people across the internet using their system. So they actually have set up a really cool way to get new useful presets from people. Let's go to the reverbs and delays. Check out our resonators section. Yes. So interesting stuff. Let's go down a bit. You get the idea. So there are just some quick. That's a fun one. There are just some quick examples of stuff you could do. We could get into the theory behind creating specific setups like delays and reverbs and stuff. But I'm just going to encourage you to open up the presets, pick out one that you think is cool, and just look at the settings they use and think about, this is based on the principle of the delay, how they set their feedback, their gain, and begin to make some conclusions. If you have any questions, let me know. Subscribe. I'll put a link to it in the description so that you too can have this wonderful thing and have a blessed day.